let's move on to like soccer then, if you want to get into that, since you started talking about
Alrighty.
playing. Okay. So, Sam, do you want to ask this? I feel like I've been asking all the questions. I don't want to be a question hog.
Well, yeah, we want to talk, I guess, a little bit about the national team. The World Cup is coming up this year. I feel like we talk about you on this podcast literally all the time. And I'm like, can you just imagine if there was like 11 crystals, like to play every position? Like you're playing midfield for your club team. You've talked about this in the media before. Lynn, I know you actually had a little question about this too, but like, what are your like thoughts going into how your year is going right now, going into the World Cup? Like where are you at with this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what separates me in a lot of ways from other players is like I have to, one, embrace where I am. It's like, yeah, I'm playing in the midfield. I'm enjoying myself there. I'm scoring some goals, getting a couple assists. I'm in a good place. I do realize, though, that should my name be called on this roster, that I have to completely change my mindset in, my approach to the game. Changing positions isn't, something that's like completely easy in the sense of you just step into the role and you're like, boom, I'm in this new position. I think there is a mentality piece that has to change. I go from in the midfield being like, yeah, I chase some people down, but at the same time, it's like people are chasing me. Like I get to like kind of be in this role where I get to be creative, be a playmaker. And when I step into the national team and become an outside back, like, my top priority is how do I, lock and shut down the best players on the opposition team, And yes, do I want to still be a playmaker? I want to be creative. I can still add those things to my game on the national team, but my top priority is completely different, So I think the balance of just understanding that's where, that's where my journey is going to take me eventually, is number one, like embracing that is going to be my reality. But then it's two, it's like, just simplifying the game. I think I've been here before for a long time where I do have to change positions, but I realized that simplifying the game always puts me in the best place to like be what I need to be for the team. Don't overthink. It's like at the end of the day, it's like I'm playing soccer. Like what's the difference? I get the ball, I pass it to my teammates, someone scores, we celebrate, great. Go, Lenny, go. And but it's not easy. It's not also something that I absolutely love doing at all times. It's like, yeah, I would love to be a midfielder, of course. That's where I would love to be at all times. But I understand that, that's not my reality, and that's okay. I get to put my own twist on the new position that I step into, and I just go from there.
Do you guys think, positions aside, the transition from club to country is like taxing mentally?
I do. I think that sometimes you see players, and I'm going to use Crystal as an example. Like Crystal is amazing in the midfield and also amazing in outside back. And so because she's amazing at both, you're like, oh, of course she's going to seamlessly go back there and be fine. But you forget that she's a human, and to be at that elite level, it takes practice to do it, or like knowing how far like you can be away to like close down, like a closing down distance, especially defensively. Like I even think about like back post, like headers, like that's a skill in itself.
The ball touching my head, I'm always like,
So I think the transition between club and national team, it's like the same thing. It's you are with your club and you're learning all of this and like how your club wants you to defend. And even if it's in the same 4-3-3 system, it's different because like maybe Gotham is doing it different than the national team. Yeah. So it's like you're having to switch and be like, oh, switch your brain back to remembering what you did, but you didn't do it for months at a time. Right. So you're like, whoa.
I have a theory too. It's kind of going to get like a little deep, and like maybe you guys don't agree, but I think like I think the reality too is, when you go into the national team environment, like we're all used to being, starting players on our club team. We're used to playing in systems that are built around our strengths, and I think when we go into the national team, that's not always the case. That's not always the feeling that you're going to get. Like some of us are in different roles, whether it's positional, whether it's you're not a starter on the national team, or whether you are a starter on the national team, and you have to fit the system. And it's not always easy. It's not always a system that's built around your strengths. It's not always a system that's built to elevate you or have you shine. I think it's always a system that is going to be about what do we need in order to win a World Cup, and sometimes those roles are not the role that you play in club. So I think that is the hardest thing that I think I had to, one, learn at a very young age when I was stepping into the national team, is understanding that you may be, the star player on your team where the balls are being fed through you. You are the go-to person. But then you step into the national team and And that may not be the case. And
Mhm.
it's kind of about leaving your egos kind of at the door. Having an ego, I will say, I hate that expression too, because I'm like, no, we all need an ego. Because if you don't have an
Yeah.
ego, then I don't even know if I want to be teammates with you, because then you're like, have no pulse. So it's like having an ego, but like really managing it throughout the course of your career on
Yeah.
the national team, because it's like, sometimes it's not meant for you to do the things that you were doing in club. And, that's okay, because the goal is you're going to be a part of something bigger than yourselves. You're going to be a part of, chasing gold medals and things like that. So that's really, I think, what the biggest difference from club and country